It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi. I'm so excited because Mariam Longa is back. We missed her on the show. You look rested. You look like you're really ready to take on the world. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and I missed you all. And all the calls, the "Where are you?" with exclamation, exclamation. I just took a few days off. I mean, TV time, I think, seems longer than real life time. Because when you're not on TV, it was just 5 days. But it seemed like been a whole month. I was like, are you sure you're okay? Like, we have not seen you. By Tuesday, I was already getting messages, where are you? I'm fine, but I've also been on the show, watch you ladies. And you know what? There's a different, perspective when you're watching the show. I'm so proud of you, ladies.
Aww.
So proud.
Friday was a banger.
Okay, I didn't see Friday, but just generally that what you do, and then sometimes you see the comments. I guess, I'm part of it, are really impacting lives, and just helping engineering mindsets. So it's a big deal what we're doing, and I think with huge privileges like this comes big responsibilities, so we should be aware.
Fantastic, love it. Thank you. So welcome back. How are you doing?
The perspective?
Yeah.
5 days break.
I need to go for like 2 months.
Who released you? Who?
I need to get. How are you doing, okay?
I'm grateful to God. I posted yesterday. I just realized because I have a PA now, I have videos every day. So I now collated the videos and posted it yesterday and just thanking God for being able to do what I love. Like, some people actually are not doing the jobs they love. Like, the things they are doing are not things that make them happy. And I look through my week in pictures, everything that I do.
Yeah, happy to do it.
I am happy to do it. I would do it for free. I would be sleepless and I would do it. And it's impactful.
Yeah.
So I wrote that I'm grateful to God that I can live a life of impact, do what I love, and earn money from it. It's not something to take for granted. Lord, I'm grateful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Talking about a life of impact. Saturday was our free goal setting. vision
Congratulations. We saw it online.
It was amazing. Like, the people who made it were people who were supposed to be there, who needed to be there. Because we got a lot of entries. And the last minute, some persons were saying they were caught up with something, their child isn't feeling, and all of that. And by the time we started the training, the sort of responses we got from people who didn't even know some of those problems existed was just showing me that these people were meant to be here. This was their training. And I'm happy for everyone who came. I'm happy for my colleague as well. It now became like a spiritual event.
Yeah, that part.
I don't know how to do an event that doesn't become a spiritual event, but I'm just happy about the impact. And I'm looking forward to greater things and greater testimonies from them, because I gave them assignments. The next time I see you, I want you to share testimonies with me. That's the most important thing.
Fantastic.
That was
Good.
everything from Nigerian
great.
match.
Well, first of all, today's my pastor's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Pastor BC Olowo
My name's
ICP. He's the pastor in charge of my parish, senior pastor of Pavilion, Redemption Pavilion Parish in VI. God bless you, Pastor Olowo. We love you.
Happy
I'm definitely
birthday,
gonna see him
Pastor.
today,
Pastor,
but
my namesake.
So my boys are playing this week. Pretty excited.
Which of your
How was
boys?
the
supposed to-
Friday?
Oh, wow, they
boys.
become her boys.
My boys are.
The last
They are
time
our
she
boys.
yapped her, She yapped them.
No,
She said that they were like eaglets or something.
Now they're
No,
your
but
boys.
this last match,
I know
it was
that.
different.
Two sides of your mouth.
When
Hey.
they barely did well, you said they were not
They
looking like Super
crossed.
Eagles.
They crossed over to
How did they
qualify.
now become your boys?
Because they played.
Because they
Yeah,
played
they
the
gave
last
us
time.
the
Super
Eagles week.
Success
Did you
has
see the
many
goal with
families.
your own eyes?
No.
Oh, blood of Jesus.
was
I did not have a
good.
Alright,
choice.
let me tell you something
It
about
was well set out. When they organize the goal.
They are bonded.
Oh, blood of Jesus. It was
Are
fantastic.
you also a coach?
So the blood of Jesus entered the comment.
No. That thing was a goal. No, it's a proud
Was
goal.
it a lone goal?
No. It was well organized.
How many goals?
Yeah,
was
there was a
1-0,
goal that.
that's
But there was a goal that.
Yeah, we know, but that one was
We
the
know
offside.
because I'm
Was
just
offside.
saying that, I saw the way Nigerians were jubilating, they were so excited. I did not dare jubilate with you people.
Why?
Because I've not been part of it. I've just put, so I thought, well, I cannot go and
don't have the right-
I cannot go and reap where I did not sow. But
Joy
I'm
in
happy, but
Nigeria.
I'm happy for us,
So next match is on Wednesday. We're
But I'm
looking
not
forward to
watching
that.
still.
Who are we playing
Oh, look
against?
at that! Oh, look at that! Oh, look at me! Yeah! That was a goal. Oh, fantastic!
Wow.
I didn't even.
When was this?
This was at the Exporter.
This was Friday,
Exporter,
right?
yes. Exporter partnered with TVC.
Okay.
Thank you so much to Exporter for that partnership. So we went there with our fans, with the Beautiful Games fans. They were all there. Some of our staff were also there. So we had the whole place to ourselves. It was fantastic. We had fun. They gave us small chops, fish, food, drinks.
Be there, but I was
yes.
for our TV.
So thanks to the owner, Exporter. He was fantastic. Thank you so much. We are extremely grateful for giving us your place. So we're going to go back there on Wednesday. So for those of you that want to join us, please, we have to let us know ahead of time.
Yes, we'll send prayers.
Send prayers.
All right, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we go through the fun pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. 0 megawatt to discos, cripples homes and businesses. NCAA goes tough on flight delays. Ex-Governor Abba Ibrahim dies at 73. Driver shot dead, body burnt before abducted Ekiti pupils. How Ekiti robbers were killed by attack survivor Alara. How kidnappers exploit financial systems loopholes. And presidency knocks Atiku over criticism of government economic policies. Okay, which story?
Yes, so let me start with the flight disruption. So the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, are warning domestic airlines, saying that flight disruptions, incessant delays, and schedule changes without adequate notice to passengers will henceforth attract sanctions. It said that the airlines must fulfill their obligations to passengers or face the consequences. The NCAA Acting Director General, Chris Najomo, was the one who issued the warning during airline operators meeting in Abuja this weekend. And he said there's been alarming reports of flight delays, disruptions, and schedule changes without adequate notice to passengers. And he says the airlines need to improve their services. And also the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, was also saying that they are determined to enforce his 5-point agenda as mandated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So he says it's unacceptable, the record of flight disruptions, poor customer experience, and poor handling of passengers, and that the operators must improve on their services or they will have him to face. It says that the airlines must rejig their flight schedule to match their number of serviceable aircraft, and that airlines are all aware of the airports which have sunset operations. So airlines must consider when they are scheduling their flights into sunset airports, they must do it early in the day so that they don't cancel their flights because some airports will be closing down at so and so time. So they must also handle persons with reduced mobility properly. So if you have like a physical challenge, they must ask you while you're filling the tickets to determine if you need special assistance, and they must be there to render the assistance. We've had different conversations on people who are challenged, who come to say that most of the airlines don't have any plans for them. And so this one is one good step in the right direction, or else those airlines will have to be sanctioned.
All right.
Yes, so I have the picture story, and this is about the abducted Ekiti pupils that have been released. So the parents said that they had to pay 15 million naira in ransom. Food, tramadol, milk, and hard drinks were also handed over to their abductors as ransom. The police command in Ekiti says that they are not aware of any ransom that were paid, you know, but the parents are saying this is what happened. When they had put their monies together, they were in communication with the kidnappers, who told them where to go, different places that you go, where they had to stop, ask them to stop to get them food. They bought food, and then led them to a certain place where they were supposed to drop the money. They were warned not to bring security agents or else they were going to kill the students with them. Luckily, 8 of them were released. 1 was killed. That's the driver of the bus. And they said the reason he was killed was immediately they had gotten them, they were asking them to give phone numbers of their relatives so that they could start making the ransom calls. But the driver said he didn't have his wife's number offhand, and for that he they used their gun to hit him on his head. They said for 5 days he was in pain, and then they finally killed him and then set him ablaze in front of his children. The parents gave their own story of how they finally met up with the children. A grandparent said that he had leg injury and didn't want to go, but knowing that his grandchildren were there, he was just so happy to be united with them. The government of Ekiti State said that, they are going to start trauma therapy with them, that clinically they're stable, but they're going to start that with them, and they are going to continue investigations to bring these perpetrators to book.
God.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I'm happy they were reunited, and I'm happy the person that lost his life is such a gruesome.
They're not animals, they're animals.
I'm telling you, terrible. Talking about the power, yes, there was a power shutdown. Obviously, we know. It's affecting many industries. The headline is about the fact that 0 megawatts is leading to crippling businesses, crippling homes, and definitely affecting people negatively. So electricity supply had a major shutdown throughout last week. Since January, actually, it's been, they are having fluctuation and you say grid shutdown. So specifically, 11 a.m. on Friday, there was 2,600 megawatts, and by 4 p.m., it dropped to 405 megawatts. Many discos getting 0 supply megawatts. Like, the entire country was left with just 405. Like, we don't have an idea.
Ew.
We're talking about this, like, what we are calling our highest is barely covering a local government in some countries. So, the Minister of Power has blamed the development on declining supply to the GENCOs. The GENCOs, too, are blaming this on vandalism. So the vandalism part is where I'm begging Nigerians. Like, we know that they are not doing well, but we say are not helping them. When you vandalize destroy not just the pipeline, the gas supply dropping, the transmission equipment stolen. When you steal transmission equipment, you come back and complain when there's no lights. We are all affecting each other one way or the other. Then there's challenge of liquidity within the power sector. So we have cases where GENCOs, the payment is not being, proper payment is not being made by there's NE, Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, NBET. And they said there's need for the monies that are being made to go to the GENCOs. Again, GENCOs are not getting paid by discos. There is a lot of debts in between them, and that the industry needs financial help. But as it is right now, let's everybody work together. The minister is on my watch list. He has been on my watch list since he was appointed, and it doesn't seem, I'm not seeing the level of work that we need, because power sector is critical to every industry in this country. Health will not work, schools will not work, businesses will not thrive if we don't have power. So you are holding Nigeria, and I pray God will give you the wisdom to navigate it.
Okay, so the special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, had fired a salvo to Atiku Abubakar, that's the former Vice President and PDP presidential candidate. If you recall, Atiku had sent in tweeted on the X handle saying that the renewed hope agenda has described it as dashing hopes, creating pains, and causing despair. Wow. Of course, Bayo Onanuga was not going to let that lie. He said that he's offering pedestrian and uninformed interventions on national economy. That, listen, you want to be the opposition in chief, which is fine, but you are doing a really poor job at it. According to him, he said the Tinubu administration has so far taken the steps it has taken to revive the economy that has been thoroughly beaten down by previous mismanagement, introducing economic strategies focused on bringing mid-long-term solutions. Even the president himself has said that initially there will be tough times, but eventually those are the sacrifices we need to make for the future of our nation. He said Atiku has certainly found a new hobby to keep himself busy, having failed to achieve his lifelong ambition to be a president. But now he's doing a poor job at being the opposition in chief of the party. Okay, the Punch. Fundraising for ransom persists. Ekiti people's families pay 15 million naira. FG states debts near 107 trillion naira. Fall raises loans. Tinubu Obasanjo, world leaders mourn Namibian president. NAFEM, dollar supply rises by 180% as banks sell $440 million. Power generation crashes to 59 megawatts as grid collapses again. NSCDC trains vigilantes to secure 821,000 vulnerable schools and 10 hospitals as police called groups clash in Lagos schools. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the paper's Punch. What's the story?
Yes, I have a story in the Punch. Let me quickly get to it.
Dollar supply.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
Dollar supply has risen by 180%. They said the banks, I know I've been taking the story since Thursday and Friday. I was thinking there will be more crash to the price, like we're going to
go back to 900.
Maybe like, maybe like even 1-2. But right now, or as at the last, the account they had Friday, it's closed at 1,420 to a dollar. They said that the Naira traded intra-bank, the lowest was 838, but in most cases, the highest they've had last week was 1,526. So the 1,420 is an improvement to an extent, even though the banks had to sell $440 million. They said that that this is based on the ultimatum that was given. I know I took that story mentioning the fact that it was compulsory for the banks to sell, and so banks are selling. The side effect is if you are trying to change your saving money in dollar and changing your money to dollar right now, and you put it in the bank, you probably won't have access to it when you want to withdraw it because the banks have only 20% of what the customers have deposited. That's what they can hold per time. We have not found a solution to the Naira-dollar crisis, obviously.
The real lasting solution really is production.
Yeah, that's it.
So but these are just
an exportation. We produce and we export. Yeah. We reduce the importation.
$10 the right way.
That's it. So in a bid to secure schools and school children, the National Safe School Response Coordination Center at the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps said vigilantes and teachers from surveyed 821,000 primary and secondary schools across the country will be trained on security. The NSSRCC, which was established by the federal government, is the one saddled with the responsibility of coordinating safety and security responses against violence on schools and host communities. So the personnel of the NSCDC and other security agencies have said that they have undergone specialized training, and they have been deployed to various schools and communities for proper engagement, which is largely centered on prevention and then protection. And they talked about how bandits have been going to schools to kidnap, children, citing the case of the one that happened in Ekiti. So the commander of the NSSRCC, Hamed Aboduri, was in an interview saying that different stakeholders, including teachers, private security guards, vigilantes, and local hunters, will be trained at state level to help tackle the rising insecurity in the country. And also, after that training, they will still go back to their communities and schools and train the remaining people. And they had to, pick the number of the schools they'll be going around for this training, which is 821,000. And I'm wondering if after the training, they will also be equipped with probably guns, and because, when these bandits come, it's not karate that will stop them because they come with high-level ammunition. So will the training also require that these people will have a form of ammunition to protect themselves? Nobody wants to be fighting carrots when they're shooting gun.
Okay, so
anyway, I have this story. So they say operatives from the Okokomaiko Divisional Police Headquarters on Saturday arrested 2 men at the Afro Media area alleged to be conveying some cartons of expired drugs. They said they had 70 cartons of feed-fine cyprofetadine caplets, 4 grams, all with the expiry date of 2016. They said that they were taking these drugs to Alaba, where they would change the expiry dates. Then thereafter, they were going to send it to Port Harcourt, where they would be sold to people to consume. There are 2 of them that were arrested. This was the Augustine Agemoye, a male, age 60, and Innocent Eremosele, 35 years old. They say that NAFDAC had also arraigned 2 businessmen over the alleged sale and distribution of fake and unregistered pharmaceutical products. Those particular suspects own pharmaceutical stores in Onitsha, and they would sell fake Ampiclox capsules, Christine, 500 milligram amoxil, artesunate, you know, and other capsules, fake, and they will put them in their own pharmaceutical stores and sell them. So again, we need to be careful. Yes, we the people, but also for the rest of us who are not wicked people and, you know, are vulnerable to these antics. We've heard the drugs that have the code on them. Let's just, let's endeavor that we use those scans, and then let's make sure we go to proper pharmacies and stores to get our drugs.
Okay, so our president extended his condolences to the government of Namibia after the passing of the 82-year-old President Geingob. He died on Sunday early hours by his next to his wife, who was actually there with her, Madam Monica Geingob, and their children. So he was serving his second term, and he had actually revealed to the Namibians that he's treating cancer. So this was his second term, and he passed on. So many countries have extended their condolences, including our former president, Obasanjo, too, has extended and regarded the man as a veteran for democracy, same as our president, that is a veteran in the struggle for democracy across Africa, and it will be sorely missed. Moving on now to Daily Sun very quickly. Electricity outages at airports, fan under fire. Edo Guba PDP ward congresses, free, fair, credible, says Governor Omba. Name terror sponsors laundering money, SCSN challenges EFCC. Insecurity, 2 Catholic priests kidnapped in Jos, reps Mall State Police. It's too early to judge democracy in Africa, says Kuka. Abductors of Kwara monarch's wife demand 100 million naira ransom. And NDLA intercepts 14.5 tons of Ghanaian cannabis linked to a wanted drug baron in Lagos.
Okay, let me join headline. So, power shut down on the 2nd of February 2024. And it lasted about 3 minutes at the Lagos International Airport. Experts, aviation experts, customers, everybody, the backlash was huge on Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, because the expectation is that in the minimum, there will be some light bulbs within the airport, like there was total blackout. There was no lights. People had to switch to their mobile phones to be able to see anything. The excuse given by the what excuse seems judgmental, so, but what the reason FAN gave was that they were trying to switch from the power outage from the national grid to their generator, and that took a while. And most of the experts were saying that every passenger that flies through Nigerian airports pays $100 for using the airport. In the minimum, they would expect that there would not be power outage. And if there will be power outage, there should be lights within the area that is triggered when power goes off. But that did not, the backup light was not there. This is not the first time we're having power outage on the, at least specifically on the internet. There was, on April 1st, 2023, there was outage that happened as well. Another one happened in June 2022 that led to an Abuja to Benin flight to turn back to Abuja because the pilots could not land. These disruptions are not normal, and the aviation sector needs work. Another minister that my eyes are on, that I'm expecting will do a very good job. On my watch list is Festus Keyamo, because his appointment came with a lot of controversy because he felt like he was not an expert in the field. And the responsibility is on him to show that even though he's not an expert, he can still do the job. He can still handle, but this is not looking good for you, sir. You know.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll see. Moving on. I didn't want to say something that came to mind, but let me just move on.
NDLA.
Go ahead.
They have intercepted a large consignment of Ghanaian loud, a strong strain of cannabis sativa smuggled into Lagos from Ghana. It was loaded in 2 trucks, and it had a total weight of 14,524.8 kilograms. Can you imagine? There were 3 vehicles conveying these jumbo bags of psychoactive substances. They were trailed and intercepted at Ojo Elegba, in my neighborhood, in the early hours of Sunday. Can you imagine? Okay, this was 28th of January. They said that in the process of blocking the vehicles, 2 of the drivers jumped off while the car was in motion. And the 3rd driver, who works with a wanted drug baron. He's called Suleiman Jimo, alias Olowo, also known as Temo. And they said that, the NDLEA for the last 3 years have been onto him. He has made shipments of the same substance worth billions of naira, and then other stories also of NDLEA intercepting drug activities all around the country.
Okay, Vanguard, let's find a story we've not taken. Brain drain, over 500 workers left National Hospital in 2 years, says CMD. 723 schools closed in 9 states over insecurity and others, says UNICEF. Blackout, power grid collapses again. 8,100 naira levy. Students in Lagos schools may miss WASI registration. And driver killed at abducted Ekiti pupils. Teachers regain freedom. Okay, which story?
Let's talk about Lagos State and why some students may likely miss their free WAEC registration. So they said some of the parents are not able to pay the 8,100 naira levy, and because of that, their children may miss the registration. Now, Lagos State actually pays for WAEC for their students, but then if you're in the informal sector, you are expected as a parent to pay 8,100 as a levy. But if you're in the formal sector, because you're working and you're already paying your tax, you're just meant to submit your tax clearance, and that clears your child to access that free WAEC registration. Now, the problem is that many of the parents in the informal sector are struggling to pay that 8,100. But, they are saying that there's nothing they can do about it. Lagos State has already carried the burden for most of these parents, and that 8,100 is just like 650 naira a day. They should plan for it and make sure they pay. However, the examination has been moved to February 24th, and this one is the way they do it is West African. It's not within Lagos State power to, extend it or not. So the exams must happen from March, and registration must close by February 24th. So I'm wondering how these people can be helped to find that amount of money. Paying the WAEC has been lifted from them already. So 8,100.
Philanthropists should support it.
Yeah.
The longer is not a government. Any other? We have to go. Any other story very quickly? The brain drain. Nobody took that story.
Yes, 500 workers have left the personnel of the hospital. That's coming from the CMD of the Abuja National Hospital. Professor Mahmood Raji on Sunday disclosed that over 500 personnel have resigned in the last
from his own hospital.
Yes, from his own. That's the National Hospital Abuja has lost 500 personnel in 2 years. It is worrisome.
No, that one is fact. That's depressing. Don't finish. You're like, we've
that's game over. State of emergency.
Game over.
State of emergency. That Nigerians are losing so much painfully, and that the loss of number is occurring within senior doctors, especially the middle cadre doctors and the very young ones. So it's probably the really old ones that are there, and they can't do as much work as the young ones or the middle level ones. So nurses are left to do most of the care, and even some of the nurses are leaving. Medical engineers are also going, which means equipment are not getting fixed when they go bad. State of emergency in our plenty areas of our
That is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on this segment is a business and economic intelligence analyst, Mr. Roman Oseghale. He will be speaking on the rising cost of the dollars and the 2024 budget. According to him, the budget will not make Nigerians richer, rather it will make them poorer. You can join the conversation on 081-076-41679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag TVC Entertainment _ and you can hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Okay, you're welcome to the show, Mr. Oseghale. It's always good to have you during these economic tough times. We always remember, there's Mr. Roman, let's call him to give us clarity. So let's start with the dollar issue, then we'll come back to the budget a bit later. Okay. Now, everybody's complaining the basic knowledge out there is that, okay, Nigeria has to produce and manufacture so that we can have more dollars. But for whatever reason, we're still not there yet. And the dollars we have right now, our Naira keeps dropping. And it's weakening transactions, it's weakening businesses, it's weakening cost of things have gone up. In layman's terms, could you help Nigerians who don't understand what is going on? They're just angry that they're unable to buy things and things. Even so, I saw a video, somebody was complaining about pure water bag now. It's 250 for the bag. Something that used to be 100 Naira. It's now 250 just the bag. So Nigerians don't get the dollar conversation. They just understand that things are high. Could you help us break it down so that the man out there can understand what's going on?
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me over. I like to deal with numbers. I don't go sentimental. If you write 2 plus 2, if you're expecting 5, I'll tell you it's 4 because that's what the numbers say. Let's go to slide 1 and I'll show you. You're already laughing.
Yeah.
We'll go through the numbers and we'll definitely see how it started and where we're at. Slide 1, please. See, for those of us who are old enough, who lived through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, you will notice that in the 70s we had a very robust economy, right? We had a very robust economy. And that economy was basically based on the fact that we had a lot of trade surpluses. And what that means is that we exported more than we imported. You understand? So, for instance, you sold goods worth 10,000 Naira, right? And you bought goods worth 5,000 Naira. So you have extra 5,000 Naira to run your household. Yeah. That's what it means. Now, but in 1981, what was giving us that money was crude oil from the 70s. And in 1981, that oil boom came to an end. 1981, 82, 83, we recorded trade deficits, which accumulated to 13.95 trillion, approximately $95 billion, approximately $14 billion. The trade deficit and the end of the oil boom plunged us into almost 23 years of economic woes.
What caused the deficit?
Now, as I said, oil boom came to an end. Yeah. Because we're a monolithic economy. Okay. Oil is our major import. Our major export and our major earner in dollars, right? So because that oil boom came to an end and we were not able to export other commodities to give us the dollars we needed, the Naira started crashing against the dollars. Obviously, the laws of demand and supply will come in. Now, we suffered that setback for 23 years. If you go to slide 12, if you go to slide 12, the last slide, you will see that in 1980, crude oil price was $35.52. And then it did not go back to that $35.52 until 2004. Mind you, population was also increasing, right? So what has happened again now? We had the oil boom of the 2000s that ended in 2013. Let's go back to slide 1. That ended in 2013. And from 2014, we recorded trade deficits in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Official figure for 2023 is not out. Okay. So what is the accumulated figure? 125.34 billion. And that's why I said 2 years ago, right, that the tsunami was coming. And we've not even started. That's the truth. I'll be very honest. We have not even started. So we're looking at a scenario whereby you have your economy that is fixated on a particular product, and that product is not giving you the income anymore, right? I said this was it last week at another TV station. If you look at the trajectory of the economy from 1970, you find out that there's no administration, head of state, government, or president that has done anything spectacular in office outside the price and quantities of crude oil. If you have price and quantities on your side, right, when you're president, there's this euphoria of like you're performing. But you got to look at, when you look at the figures, you find out that it is the oil prices and quantities that is driving the economy because we're earning a lot at that particular time. But if you have price and quantity against you, you're in trouble. And that's what we've been having. So we've not been having enough dollar come into the economy because we've been having massive trade deficits.
Okay. Hey. So we hear you. We hear the doom and the despair. And we hear how we've found ourselves here. Yes. Now we're here, and we just want to find a way forward. Could you tell us, because you said that no president has done anything substantial in all these years, what could he have done? Okay,
let me explain something to you, right? All this problem started, see, if you look at, when you study economics, right? When you see something reacting today, it's probably the failure of a policy 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Wow. So our job is to trace it with numbers, right? So there was a video I did, it was 42 minutes, which I took the economy from 1960. I analyzed it every year till 2021 or 2022, about 2 years ago. Now, if you look at the trajectory of the economy, this whole problem started in 1970. In the 60s, we had a thriving economy that was built on productivity. The only time that we found GDP dropping was during the Civil War. It dropped 67 and 68. And by 69, it had already gone up again and surpassed the 67 GDP. Despite the fact that crude oil price dropped by 22%. GDP increased from 1960 to 69 by 54%. 22% drop, but 54% increase in GDP. And our GDP per capita was also increasing. But all that changed in 1970. The demand of crude oil from the industrialized West, right, now put a lot of pressure on Nigeria to supply crude. And then in 1970, crude was $1.27 per barrel. By 1974, it jumped to almost $12. Why? The Yom Kippur War. Now, the Yom Kippur War, where the Arab nations attacked Israel, right? And to punish the US because they supported Israel, the Arab nations decided not to sell oil, the oil embargo of 1973. So because there was an oil embargo from the Middle East, the West turned to countries like Nigeria to fill in that gap. And then prices now jumped up from $1.27 to almost $12, over 800%, right? What did we do with it? And that was when the sitting head of state said money was not our problem, but how to spend it. And then that price remained relatively stable because of the instability in the Middle East, right? Coupled with the fact that there was so much demand from the industrialized West. By 1979, another scenario happened again, the coming of the Ayatollah, where the Iranian Revolution, where they seized the American embassy, held people hostage, and by then, crude oil also cut off from Iran. So by 1980, when Iran and another event, Iran and Iraq went to war and disrupted oil flow from Iraq again, oil reached $35.34 from just $1.27 per barrel. You understand? In 1970, in just 10 years. So we were washed with petrodollars that we did not even know what to do with it. Now, what that meant was that we had high reserve. We had a very strong currency. Now, if you look at from the 70s, right, we have started developing companies that were manufacturing. But because we had a very strong Naira and coupled with high dollar reserve and then infrastructure deficit, it now became cheaper to import than manufacture. That's how our local industries started dying off one by one. By 1981, crude oil is directly proportional to inflation. It would cost the Reagan administration had to bring in monetary policy to quickly control the inflation. And by the time they did that, they themselves started mining crude oil, flooded the market, and then prices crashed. And then Nigeria's economy, that was the beginning of our economic woes.
My question, I get it. So you've just even further elaborated what you had spoken about earlier. But I was saying, let's just take a particular administration, for example. What would we say Obasanjo's administration did wrong? What would we say or did right?
Okay. One thing I'll give to President Obasanjo, he followed the books. And when I say followed the books, he followed the principles of accounting and finance, right? Where your asset equals, your total net worth equals your asset plus your liabilities. So what he did that particular time, when we got money, he reduced our liabilities. That is, he sold crude, put it in the foreign reserve, and put it in excess crude oil account. That meant that our assets, right, went up, right? And then they were also able to reduce our liabilities by convincing the Western world to write off our debt and then also pay off some. You understand? That immediately brought us up. It increased our asset base and our net worth. You understand? But basically, when you say manufacturing, your currency is directly proportional to how productive an economy is. You understand? If your productivity increases and money supply remains constant, a unit of your currency will buy more. Or if your productivity increases and money supply decreases, a unit of your currency will buy more. But there was nothing spectacular that was done. The only thing that we saw was GSM. It wasn't our technology. As they say, innovation is what pushes every economy to a new potential.
Okay. I need to go on a break, though, but then you said a lot of things of helping us understand the problem, right? When we come back, we'll see how we can begin to arrive to some solutions. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the economy. You had a question?
Yes, so it's from your analysis and looking at history, it's been obvious that our leaders so far have lacked vision in where they wanted us to go. Because from the accounting that you just gave now on how we were making so much money based off of certain wars that were happening, and then we're shoring up our foreign reserve and all of that. I would think, because being an individual who looks at her home and how she wants her home to grow, the time of abundance is the time that you even tighten your belt the more, the time that you invest the more, the time that you look into other aspects so that the abundance continues and you don't get to a point where you have eaten everything and you're looking again and hoping that a miracle happens. So far, we have not reasoned in that direction, because from what you said now, I know a lot of things that we could have done with that boom at the time to make sure that we get to where we're going to, if we had a vision for that. But that has happened, and we have made all the mistakes as leaders, right? Now, the question is, where we are right now, where our currency is not anything to write home about. What can we do as individuals, one, to ensure that we begin to give a form of hope to our currency? Because now the fear is that because the federal government, so to speak, is not giving any form of incentive for people to even save in Naira, people are losing money, keeping money in the banks. You know what is not happening? Everybody now wants to go to buy the USD to show up. What can we do as individuals and also as governments to even encourage people to, work with the Naira and save and buy in Naira?
I think the first thing is everybody should live below their means. Okay. That's the first thing. Live below your means. This is not a time where you want to impress anyone, right? Put your children in schools that you can afford, right? Don't try to put your children in expensive schools that you now put the burden on other people trying to raise money. But basically, right, it still boils down to the government. The government needs to create confidence in the economy. Now, why is all these things happening? It's because you and I have lost confidence in the economy and we lost confidence in leadership. Yeah. That's why we're sending our children abroad. That's why we're going for medicals abroad. And all these things are putting pressure. You understand? Once I see these figures that I know that we're recording trade deficits, the next thing I know is that once you record trade deficit, the next thing that happens is you record budget deficits. Mm-hmm. You can't cover your budget. And once you record budget deficit, the next thing is you borrow, right? Mm-hmm. You start to borrow. So if you go to slide 2, for instance now, right? Look at our budget deficit has increased from 1.08 trillion in 2015 to 10.80 trillion in 2023. You understand? So it's a vicious cycle that you now get caught up in some kind of poverty.
Mm. Go ahead.
So it's a vicious cycle that you get caught up in poverty. And it cannot stop unless you have productivity to shore up the currency, that the dollars, to bring in more dollars into the economy. Then secondly, the budget. Mm-hmm. The budget is the fundamental, the financial backbone, right, that you inject into the economy every year to either boost the economy or to revive the economy. Now, when you look at our budget, right, sorry to say, the budget is not going to make us any richer. It's going to make us poorer. Because if you follow the principles of accounting and finance, right, you have a budget that is $36 billion in dollars, right? 30% is going into debt service, right? I think another.
Recurrence.
Yes, no. Budget deficit, then debt service, right? Budget deficit is about 36%, and then your debt service is about 28.7%. So you're basically increasing your liabilities, right? Of that 36 billion, how much is going into investments? Remember, there was about 2 years ago when I came here, I demonstrated that each time you mine your crude, right, you're actually depleting your assets. Mm-hmm. So they pegged the budget at 1.78 million barrels per day, right? If you times that by 365, and you do the dollar which was used, the dollar rate which was used in the budget, you find out that we're going to deplete our crude oil to the tune of 50.4 billion US dollars this year. Now, how much of that money is going into investment?
Development.
Do you get? Now, you have education, health, and works. Total in the budget is just 3.69, let's just say 3.7 trillion. Of the 28.7 trillion, which is just 13% of the budget.
Of the main,
you understand? Of the
that's
main
your
budget.
main industry.
Do you get it? Yeah. Now, you're depleting your assets and you're not reinvesting to cover the liabilities. Okay. So basically, the budget it's been designed right from the onset to make us poorer. If you understand the principles of accounting. Then second,
Before you go further, so what you're saying with that sentence is that the budget should have actually funded those 3 sectors, the works, health, and education.
Let me break it.
So imagine we had about 40 or 30%.
Okay, good. Let me break it down to a layman's. Now, your dad says, "Oh, I am 90, and I want to divide up my assets so that when I die, I don't want anybody to start fighting over anything." So, Mariah, I'm going to give you 10 houses, and those 10 houses each cost 100 million. That means on the book, immediately you're worth $1 billion naira, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And Mariah now says, oh, there's no need to work again now. Let me just, TVC, let me just take my life jejely. Mm-hmm. You understand? Now, you now take one house every year, you sell. When you sell, you get 100 million, right? Yeah. When you sell, you've not made money. All you've done is you converted your fixed asset to current assets, right? So you now hop on a plane, you buy a first-class ticket, you go to Milan, you go to Paris, you end up in Grenada to go and do party. You understand? Do you understand? You buy the Louis Vuitton bags and shoes.
Yes, sir.
And then you change your car to probably maybe a G-Wagon. And then you now come back. Everybody around you will say Morayo has arrived, right? Sir. But on paper, are you richer or you're poorer?
You're poorer.
Good. And then if you're doing the same thing over and over again, I can look at you from the figures and say, in the next 10 years, Morayo is going to be broke. Yeah. That's why Bill Gates was able to say that by 2050, Nigeria and the DRC will account for 40% of the people living in extreme poverty worldwide. Because we're depleting our asset, but there is no reinjection of investment to cover that liability. So basically, we are basically getting poorer. And remember, if you were only 5 in your household, right, when they gave you that house, by the time it's 1 billion, that means that...
3 housemaids.
No, that means that those 5 per capita is 200 million, right? But every year, you're giving birth to 2 twins. You can imagine how the per capita will be dropping. Do you understand? And then, let me discuss also the size of the budget. This is where it scares you. See, please go to slide. Let's go to slide 12. No, sorry, slide 7, please. See, our budget is like a drop
as compared to the need.
As compared to the need. Now, between 2014 and 2021. Our budget hovered around an average of 29 billion. It didn't even increase. Population is increasing. Yeah. For comparison purposes, South Africa, right, in 2022-2023, had a budget of $136 billion US for less than about 60 million people then. Now, of that $136.6 billion US, 26.94 was allocated to education. And then another 16.4 was allocated to health. That's about 44 billion US dollars, right? So you see, 44 billion US dollars for investment in just health and education for about 60 million people.
Can I pause you for a second? Yeah. Because as a layman, I'm thinking to myself, it sounds great on paper for me to take this amount of money and invest. But when you invest in education, for example, it takes minimum 10, 15 years for you to begin to reap the benefits of that education. So when you come into an economy, let me finish. If you come into an economy where there's abject poverty, people just want handouts. Just give us 10,000, 20,000 naira. People are clamoring for, we need to eat. We know those great things are nice. They sound great on paper, build bridges. What are you building bridges for when I've not eaten? Yeah. So the mentality is like, feed me first. Yeah. So do you think that could be a challenge of government saying, we have poor people. They have to eat first before I start doing all this.
Let me
ask you something. Yes, please. What part of the budget that you see that they say they are putting money for you and I to eat?
That's the thing. So I've held on to, because I know yes,
Go.
Yes, so it's comments and question. The biggest challenge we're having is we're not stimulating the economy the right way.
God bless you.
So we're paying salary, we're not rewarding productivity.
God bless you.
And if you put money in education right now, you would stimulate the sector by construction of more schools.
God bless you.
Pay salaries that will make the teachers want to do work. The results might be, the final result is in 20 years' time, but the immediate result is people will earn based on what they have earned, where they are earning. I mean, they will earn well from where their effort is going into. Same for health. If you put money into health sector, we'll build more hospitals, we would empower the engineers. They would earn from where they are working. And then we'll have a better quality of life. If you put money into works, construction work would spring up everywhere. We tie the construction workers to be Nigerians, where we're not bringing in Chinese, Indians, Cotonou people to come and earn from where we are trying to stimulate the economy. By the time money is flowing, the market woman will sell tomato because I am already earning from my work I'm doing. So we are stimulating through salary, and we cannot pay enough Nigerians. This is how you stimulate well, and we're not doing it.
So I hear that, but I also hear on one side when we try to have a big budget, every time immediate response. This is the biggest budget we've ever had. What does the,
Ambitious.
people? Yes, people don't. Every time I see economic policies, going a certain way, immediately we get the reaction from the human angle, human interest angle. People are too poor for these your economic policies. We cannot stand it right now. People are, people need handouts, as you said. We need something right now. We need money to be given to us. You're saying we cannot pay enough salary, but people want monies to be handed to them.
But
we have no, but the thing with Nigerian conversation is, on one hand, we say we want money to be injected into infrastructure, all these facilities. On the other hand, when we're doing that, we hear Nigerians again complaining of how we are further impoverishing people. So which one is it? That's why my first question, even though it didn't come across well, is what would have been the perfect way the government would have handled it?
She's answered the question. The perfect way is if you inject money into investment, investment will create wealth. That's just it. If you inject, do you know that construction is actually used as a yardstick? No, not just stimulate, to measure the progress of an economy. Once a lot of constructions are going on, you know that, yes, the economy
So construction hasn't been going on in the last...
Look, I just said something earlier, right? Our budget is a drop of water in a bucket of what it should be. Really? South Africa with 60 million people, they are using 136.6 billion.
So we need a bigger budget.
We need a budget of about between 2 to 250 billion US dollars that will create that effect we need in the economy.
Then our priorities are wrong, even the one we have.
We'll come to the priorities. Yeah. Now that budget, that budget that you're suggesting, where do you get the money from? Borrowing?
Yeah.
See, we should not borrow.
So how do I get that money?
Yeah.
See, I think we need to go back to productivity. And second, when you are productive, let me give a scenario here, right? All our industries are dead, whether you like it or not, right? And that's because government is not doing the plus or minus. I'll give a scenario. In 2019, the dairy industry in the US, right? It's actually cheaper to import. But in 2019, dairy industry in the US added economic impact. Total economic impact was about 620 or 28 billion US dollars, right? Now, but the government kept it because it employs 3 million Americans. It pays out about 159.9 billion US dollars in wages, right? And it also pays another $24.4 billion in state and local taxes, and another $39 billion in federal taxes. Now, imagine you kill that industry by importation. What happens? You render 3 million people jobless. Yeah. There's going to be high divorce rate. Boys will end up in prison. There's going to be divorce. You understand? Government is going to pay more
social support.
No, social support. They are going to pay more unemployment benefit. By the time you crunch the numbers, it tells you what to do. It is cheaper. Government subsidized that industry to the tune of 39 billion. We better give them this 39 billion because if we kill this industry, it might cost us. All these things that you're looking at, the intangible and tangible assets, might cost us as much as 100 billion. So you make your decisions. But we do not have people.
So in answering my question, of where do I get the money right now for $250 billion
we need to go back.
to run this economy?
We need to go back to productivity. I'll give you an instance. Recently, President Tinubu signed the DICON bill. Now, if you study the DICON bill very well, it says that we cannot import anymore arms, right? If you go to the DICON factories in Kaduna, you will weep. Beautiful place, the machines are still there, but nobody is using it. Now, why are we not manufacturing the arms we need for self-reliance? Now, then secondly, if government can actually bring in policies, I would have expected by now, right? What government needs to do first is look at the various sectors and bring out the same policies. For instance, do you know how many school children you have in this country? That you can say, you know what, we need XYZ companies to manufacture their uniforms. We stop bringing all those things in.
The cotton
do you understand? The cotton must come locally. Before you know.
You put it into the textile.
Yes, before you know, the pressure on the dollar will start to reduce.
But you also say it takes a while for...
Yes. No, permit me, sir, to say something in the short term. An investment in our education now would reduce our forex need for education travel.
Exactly.
An investment in our health now would reduce the health dollar flights going for healthcare.
These are ideal.
Not ideal.
Wait,
not
let
ideal.
the finish.
What I'm saying, when you check the percentage, the healthcare budget right now is not even going into any change in improving our healthcare. It is going into paying salaries. It will back it up with
When you
give them 1.2 trillion, you are barely paying good salary. But we are calculating every day how much dollar is being sucked out of our much needed system to pay for education abroad.
So,
and
thank you for taking me to where I'm going
abroad.
Because I know on this table, I've always criticized the middle class because of our taste for foreign education, our taste for sausages, our taste for our taste for foreign. Because the middle class will tell you, listen, I have the money. I can afford. You said below my. I earned it. Don't judge what I choose to do with my money.
Let me buttress what you've said. We all want to be like Singapore. We all want to be like China, right? During Lee Kuan Yew's time, please go to slide 11. During Lee Kuan Yew's time, right? Scarce forex was only allocated for 3 things.
Which is?
1, medicines and drugs, essentials. 2, machineries. 3, raw materials. So the goal and the psychology was go buy the machineries, buy the raw materials, convert it and sell to the world. Look at what's on the in 2022, Singapore is smaller than Lekki Peninsula. Singapore is 728 square kilometers. Lekki Peninsula is 755 square kilometers. Now, Singapore exported a total of $870.81 billion worth of goods and services. The whole of sub-Saharan Africa. 47 countries, 23 million square kilometers, 1.1 billion people, only exported 548.87 billion. So you see what he sowed there, right? You see how it has germinated.
So
and
now I'll let Busi jump in here because there's an angle I want to go, but let Busi jump in here.
So I see the problem. We all are to blame, one way or the other. And I know that first of all would hold our leaders accountable. And why are we holding our leaders accountable? You know, Mariah mentioned something that what if the people are saying that they want to eat? And that is where I differ, because the people can say whatever they are saying. But if the leaders know that it's not this immediate 5,000 naira I'm going to be sending to you, will take us out, they can make policies and refuse to give that amount of money. But the problem is, because we are very interest-based, we are thinking of, we have not finished sorting the problem we have today. We are thinking of the next election that we're coming and we want to be voted in. So why don't we give the people what they want so that we'll have an opportunity to come back again? That's on one hand.
Yes,
Secondly, the production we are shouting now, we should have, you know, we have quite a number of manufacturers who are struggling to even make something, who are struggling with policies. We are sitting down here, we have people who will come in from outside, foreigners who will come in, who banks will give loans. Their country will give them loans to compete with the local manufacturers here who are still struggling to even have a form of electricity. Now, how do you want them to compete? At the end of the day, their products are more expensive and people will want to buy the cheaper ones. So how do you think government can help us, especially the people in that production, in the manufacturing, to say, we have your back? And how does our own bad character not scatter the whole thing? Because we Nigerians also have a problem. They give you the loans, and then you refuse to pay back.
And that is a different matter.
Can I add, all this is part of it, so let me just add this as part of it. Please, let me just put this as part of it, which is, for me as a Nigerian, who I just am, you know, just hopeful that things will change, you know, and I'm looking at one administration after the other with different economic policies and how we react to it. So now let's just use this simple example of the fuel subsidy or no fuel subsidy. Eventually, we got to a point where many Nigerians were agreeing that it had to go. And then the moment it left, we have conversations every day of how Nigerians are further impoverished every day. So my question is, what is it that we want as a country what exactly are Nigerians willing to sacrifice? You are saying Singapore had to make sacrifice. What is it that Nigerians are willing to sacrifice? Is this just an economic policy problem or just policy problem from the government? Or is this just a Nigerian problem where we feel that we can do both?
Okay.
And finally, are we just finally, all the administration, is it that there is no administration, all these brains that we have going back and forth, working in different international organizations, they don't know what to do?
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let me just quickly see, it all boils down to having confidence in the government. That's just it. If I know that the president will do what he is saying, he will cut down on the cost of governance from the executive to the legislators, right? I will be ready. If I know that the president is going to invest in education, I will tell my kids to come back, that the education system is going to be better. If I know that a bunch of lawmakers will not go and buy how many jeeps? How many jeeps? Yeah. They carry 250-something billion, right? And go buy jeeps, and then they come on air to defend it when people are
with
suffering.
Their full chest.
Exactly. I will do the needful. The bottom line of your question is that the people in government, they have self-interest, not national interest. Yeah. And when you have self-interest in government, right, the first thing people...
Is that a generalization?
Or everybody? The government's fault.
By their fruits, we know them.
See, by what they are doing, there were PDP in the house, there's Labour in the house, there's APC in the house. All of them. How many? Not one person said, stood up and said, I will not take this.
I'm not taking this car.
So you see that when they are campaigning, they campaign based on they discredit each other, but when they enter that house, they connive to rape
we
and
are united in the shopping.
Yes. So that's just it. So when I look at things, I just see that these people don't have my self-interest. So I better do what is best for me.
I take care of myself. So all of us
Let me go on a short break. When I come back, we continue our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I think I have a caller. Good morning, Festus. You're calling. You're live.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes. Good morning,
I want to suggest, like a layman, is it not possible to withdraw the licenses of all these bureau de change? Must we have another window for exchange of dollars apart from banks?
Exactly. That's a valid question.
Can't we just arrest all these malams?
Well, the banks can't meet that demand. Well, let me go ahead.
We have a law that we start arresting all the malams, so that banks only will be our only window for exchange of dollars.
Right.
How can you have two this in a country? Once there is an alternative, then people are bound to choose. Let us criminalize it.
Okay. So he has a point.
Okay. So you can't come and do that. Then that means that you're running a command and control economy. Now there are two types of economy: a free market economy and a command and control economy, right? The free market economy is determined by market forces. Command and control economy, you fix the prices. And that's, if you want to go to the bank, that means you're fixing the prices, right? To be able to do that, you must have high dollar reserve to be injecting into the economy to stabilize that price. But once you're not able to...
That's not the question, sir. He's saying that why are Nigerians having to go to parallel markets? Let everybody that requires dollar go through the official market and buy it at whatever rate, but we can control how much is coming in. Like, we know it's not that we're fixing the price. We're not fixing the price, but we are going to buy it only from this recognized source.
That's exactly it. the free market will always dictate the price. If you go to the bank now, right? Bank wants to sell to you at official rate, right?
They sell. It's open now. It's high and window.
Banks sell at official rate.
They sell at official rate, right? Now, if the bank sell at official rate, you must have enough reserve to be given to the banks, right? To make sure that that official rate is stable. Yeah. You understand? Other than that, Murayo can have $1 in the house and say, Roman, you need dollars. Yeah. I'm willing to sell to you at 1.3. The free market will still dictate the price. Do you understand? Yes.
Small black market.
So that's what the Beru they change. All the BDC people are. It's the free market that will. When President Tinubu came in, what did he do? He scrapped because they felt that we were subsidizing the Naira. But at the same time, the free market is still dictating the price till tomorrow.
Please, I would like you to answer my question
now,
on the production.
On your production, I also want to use this appeal, this avenue to make an appeal to the president. And the appeal is this. I will use the metering sector to answer your question. Now, the metering sector is one of the biggest industry in Nigeria. But the second metering phase is about to be imported. While we have companies that can actually manufacture them here. And the numbers are very scary. In 2 years,
metering, that's power.
Yes, the power sector. In 2 years, Nigeria was only able to cover about 500 plus, about 262 per year prepaid meters. Now, we have 6 million metering deficits, right? If you calculate, it will take 23 years for us to cover that gap, for them to meter that 6 million deficit. But yet, in that 23 years, we will have added another 150 million people to population. Average of 5 to 6 per household. That means you're going to have an additional 25 to 30 million households in 23 years. That will require another 25 to 30 million meters. The meter you are installing now has only a lifespan of 10 years. So that means that you are going to continuously... It's a huge industry.
A huge market
for it. Now, rather than develop the local industry, government is saying they want to go and bring in the second... That answers your question because it is personal interest. People in government are driving personal...
Let me punch that a bit. Let me poke that a bit because I remember very clearly... Wait, exactly. I remember when Falash Pashola gave me 4 names. Says, Maria, call them directly. Nigerian companies that were licensed to produce this, they couldn't meet the demands. And here, Nima will come here every day. We need meter. Nigerians need meter.
Why don't we ask them why they could not meet the
demand? So there were issues. There were actually issues of how they can actually support them. But many of them were not sincere in a lot of things. Government supported these. So it goes back to us, the people. I'll go to I was going to say there are the tangibles and there are the intangibles. The tangibles are the numbers. 2 plus 2 give you 4. The intangibles is that I have to trust government. That you cannot measure my rate of trust because it's that trust you need for me to bring back my child from America and say, don't go to Princeton anymore. Come to University of Ibadan. How do you know that I trust you enough to do that? You might be doing a lot of work, but I choose not to trust you because you cannot measure my trust. Secondly, I have an appetite for long hair. I have an appetite for this. You cannot force me.
Your policies will not force me.
You said earlier that let us start producing the textile industry manufacturing. All of us want to do 7 years old, 8 years old, go and buy lace from Switzerland. We are importing this lace. Would I say that the Nigerian version of that lace, would you think they'll buy it? No, Nigerians will not buy it because I have an appetite. And it's the one in Swiss I want to buy. So how do you measure that intangible? People's appetite have reached a point where they would not support you regardless of what you're doing.
So that's why I
will not support you because we see hypocrisy in the side of the government.
Thank you.
Let me come in.
Until I see that I'm not the only one.
I'm an architect by training. If you go to the market, you will not see a single stanchion or iron rod that is to specification.
I agree.
Most of them that are supposed to be 12 meters, they are like 11.5, 11.7, 11.75, right? They are supposed to be 12 meters, but we have Standard Organization of Nigeria. The 25 mm you have in the market today is no longer 25 mm. The 18 mm, the 16 mm, all of them are thinner than what they should be, right? But we have agencies, regulatory agencies that are supposed to take. The reason why you and I would prefer to go buy things outside because we know that the standard of what you are buying is what it says it is. Yeah. Do you understand? If government, and that's why I keep saying that it is lack of trust in the system. We've all lost confidence in the system. I know that if I'm buying wood now that is supposed to be 12 mm thick, it's no longer 12 mm, it's like 10 mm.
Who did that?
Sorry?
Who did that?
The people?
We the people of government.
No, wait, we the people did it. The people who are supposed to check it before it crosses did not check.
They don't check.
They are part of the government.
So it's basically, money exchange hands and everybody turns a blind eye. You understand? So the confidence in the system, government needs to ramp up that confidence in the system before you and I will now say, okay, I trust the government. They need to cut down on their expenditure. We need to see money flowing into investment.
That SON thing you said.
Yes.
I'm a man. I work at SON. I've been there for like 15 years. I've not been paid. I've not had an increase in salaries. And now that's why I'm not even doing my job. That's why I'm not even going to come and inspect you because I'm dependent on the kickbacks you give to me. Because government is not paying me. They're paying me minimum wage, for example. I'm not earning. Government saying, I can't increase your salary because I can't continue my recurrence. Is this amount of money. So is that vicious cycle?
Yeah,
so one cycle. So I'm trying to trust the government that you have monitored Mariam to make sure she's producing at that level. But the truth is that I am not doing my job because I have to cut corners.
Let me support you with
Who
something.
is supposed to monitor you?
Sorry. Let me come in.
Systems to do the monitoring.
Okay, let me come in. Lin Kuan Yew said that his friend that was in government stole money. And before I got to him, he killed himself because he knew the consequences, right? Yeah. The problem, one of the major problems in Nigeria is that there are no consequences for
bad behavior.
Or bad behavior. You understand? Yeah. And you know why there are no consequences? Why? You see, if I am doing wrong and I see you doing wrong, my conscience will not make me
because all of us are wrong
give you what the consequences of what you are doing. That's why it still boils down to that confidence.
Yes.
Everybody has lost confidence. How many people? There was a minister that diverted money, another one collected contract, and everybody is still there. Nobody has ended up in jail. Do you understand? Yes.
And the government wants us to trust them.
And the government wants me to trust them. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Once government fix that confidence issue, you will see that things will start getting into.
All right, let me take I'll come back to you. Let me take Biodun. Thanks for calling your live. Sorry for keeping you.
That's all right. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Ladies and gentlemen there. Just a quick one. Somebody heard not long ago that can we not arrest the Malam? What many people are not aware is that the Malam now work hand in hand with the bank. I don't want to mention my branch. That the Malam that reports there, inside the bank law, walks around. He negotiates. He doesn't even deal in raw cash. He transfers $5 to customers' accounts. So maybe CBN is not aware. Please, I want people to be aware of what is going on inside the bank account.
Thank you, Biodun.
It's part of the system.
Yeah, can I say?
Okay. See, so it still boils down to that confidence. See, if Roman Oseghale does wrong, let him get 5 years. If Morayo does wrong, and the consequence that Morayo needs to get 10 years. Let Morayo get 10 years. Do you understand?
If it's minister?
Yes, no matter if it's minister, no matter if it's... So when let President Tinubu, let him start with the people in government.
You'll be shocked.
When he starts with the people in government, people like me will now start having confidence.
But President Tinubu is a politician. See? Politicians, as much as they are governance, they are there for governance. There's still that role of I need to come back. I have a
We are not ready.
I'm just saying, it's politics all over the world.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. See, Trump was arraigned, a former president.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, now, see, when I was schooling, my economic professor said something. He said that once a person in government is found wanting, right? Do you know why they quickly resign? Because the government cannot afford the people to lose confidence in them.
And in Nigeria, they don't resign.
Do you understand?
They don't care.
Now, he said,
shamelessness.
He said that once confidence is lost in government, a country starts to spiral.
It falls. A country falls.
Do you understand? And that's our major problem. Somebody, I just heard that EFCC recovered 30 billion from humanitarian. What happens to the person? Do you understand? They said, oh, I moved this money because one person wanted to steal it and blah, blah, blah. It's that the requirement of the government. You did wrong. Even if you protected it, is it a process or a procedure that you have to follow? You understand? When people start to go to jail for what they've done, I'm telling you, this economy will start to make a turn around.
Everybody's doing the same thing.
That's exactly what I said.
Hangman knows, so that the countries that went from where we are
See,
and experienced change, it was capital offense.
Yeah.
The countries that went from where
We've been saying here since
to grow
hanging some people
is capital offense or
get
capital
it.
punishment. But
Let me
I wanted to
just
say
something.
I wanted to say something since, please, in support of we the people being able to fight back, because we need to. I preach too much hope to just do like this. That is government. The markets you are talking about, the iron market, with electrical components.
Oh, same thing.
Wires.
Same thing.
The Nigerian wires have gained growth. It wasn't based on government.
Yeah.
It was based on the companies locally saying we will produce quality.
Exactly.
And now people built confidence in Nigerian electrical wiring above foreign one. So it means that in the midst of this corrupt, terrible system, a group of people can choose to create their internal standard and build a name for themselves. Because now when you want to do your internal wiring within your house, you will say, give me Nigerian made. So that means somebody can rise up and do that. It wasn't government that made the Nigerian wires become good.
I'm happy what
we
you
can
just
come
said.
back.
I'm happy with what you've just said, because I think that's where I've been trying to lead us. We cannot just sit down and point at government. It's just as if there's another part we have refused to look at. And I believe that if we don't look at both sides, we will not get anywhere. Now you have explained how, it will take us a while to be able to see benefits of some economic policies. And now we have talked about trust and confidence. What number can you put on that? Like, how many years would that...
Okay.
How many years will it take for that confidence to come?
Let me explain.
Then put one last one.
Okay.
Because you talked about punishing people.
Wait.
One last final one, punishing people. You limp your... See, we've sat down on this table and we've talked about, Waike would talk about the time when they used to put armed robbers and shoot them at Barbage and how it incensed people. Nigerians don't want to see people being shot or killed for their wrongdoing. So really, this confidence that we're talking about, how long will it take?
Let me quickly say something.
No, you don't want
to.
to.
I watched a video some time ago of a guy, I think it was in Iraq or Iran, of a guy that raped a 5-year-old girl. Do you know what they did? They took him to the public square, executed him there, and used a crane, lifted up his body and left him there till evening. What were they doing, right? It was gruesome. Yeah. You understand? The West condemned it. But they were trying to pass a subtle message that there are some things that the society will never condone.
Yes.
Do you understand? When you steal, right? If I go away with the 30 billion, when you steal, you have robbed the present and the yet unborn. What you have done, do you understand?
Because I've heard the Nigerians.
I have on this table advocated that these kinds of people should be hanged.
Yes!
But these same Nigerians, the human rights, they'll carry the placard with...
No, it's not only...
The same Lee Kuan Yew said something. He said to get things done, you must bend the rules sometimes.
Yeah. And see, let me even tell you why it's worse here. It's not even human rights. It's the fact that Christians will say you are targeting Christians. Muslims will say you are targeting us.
No, because that's how the divide.
People from Delta State will say you are targeting us.
Those are
people from the north will say you are targeting us.
Thank you,
Look at those people that say it. In most cases, they are politically motivated. Have you not seen protests that are paid for? Politicians.
So let's come back to
solution. Let me say this.
Let me pause you for a second. I have a caller has been holding for a while. Mr. Demola from Ipaja, thanks for calling.
Hello, good morning.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry for keeping you.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Calling from Ipaja. Thank you so much. I just want to speak to I like your guest. He made mention of something, and that's what I want to bring out. He said anybody that steals should be jailed. But that one cannot work in Nigeria. Let me give an instance now. If somebody stole 100 billion naira, and the person can afford to get as many as possible sound and give them money. At the end of the day, he will not be jailed. Then when you are blaming the system, we should blame the judges too. The judiciary should also be blamed. That is where the problem is. He said somebody should be jailed. Yeah, fine, but not in Nigeria. Somebody that spent 100 million naira can afford to employ standard stand as many as possible and give them money. At the end of the day, it will be released or negotiated. Thank you so much. That's my contribution.
Yes. See, I wrote an article about 4 or 5 years ago. It's called Judges and the Moral Burden of a Corrupt Society. He's right. A lawyer friend once told me, said, Roman, you know what? You see, that the judiciary is one of the major problems of this country. The day the judiciary sits up and sends people to jail, right? I think the country...
Jail is overcrowded. Nobody cares anybody.
Let them build more. Their infrastructure, let them build more. The day the judiciary sits up, right? I think people will now start to align themselves with what is right. I want to say, in the recap, right? Now, the budget is not going to get us anywhere. That's the truth. We have more liabilities in the... No, we have more liabilities in the budget than assets.
Yeah.
And as long as your liabilities is going up, your asset is coming down, right? You're getting poorer. As long as your liability is going up, your asset is coming down, your population is increasing, you're getting super poorer. That's for one. Two, we need to ramp up our crude oil exploration, right? And I'll read some figures out, right? Nigeria... No, because that's the only place we are able to get money from now. And we need to get out of this deadlock. Nigeria only mines about 1.78 million barrels a day, right? Population 218 million. Saudi Arabia is mining 12.4 million barrels. Population 36 million. Qatar 1.98, about 2 million barrels. Population 2.7 million. UAE 3.2 million barrels. Population 9 million. Kuwait 3.15 million barrels per day. I can go on and on and on, right? What we are presently doing will not get us anywhere.
I know that number that you have just mentioned. What you did not mention is the Nigerians stealing crude oil left
to Cameroon. Taking the smuggling. That one is there.
I was here 4 years ago. Even before the so-called one that they exposed, right? Yeah. I said to you people, as far back as 2009, the Guardian UK had reported that 1 billion pounds, not dollars, 2009, 1 billion pounds of crude oil was being stolen from Nigeria every month. You understand? Let's even go back to the one that they discovered in the Niger Delta, right? Everybody, for me, everybody's into it.
Everybody.
You said, oh, we just got an info, right? You took me to where the info is, and you said, let us drain this water. Yes. Right? How did you know that there was pipe inside that water? We spent the whole day, we drained the water, right? And then you say that is the pipe. Now, as an architect, if I have to trace pipes on site, I break to know where that pipe is going. You now took me to the high sea without the pipe enter ground from where that place. So you took me to the high sea and say, oh, this is where the pipe comes out. It's inside this platform. Without tracing it.
The issue is when you now find it, you now blow it up. So that people are not held accountable, questions are not asked.
That is the question. Who has gone to jail? Who has been arrested?
But
nobody.
Let me come back to a bit of the solution. I wanted to talk about...
I have a caller, Bisia. Let me take that call. Good morning. Thanks. I think it's Mohammed from Shagamu.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
I'm Mohammed from Shagamu. First time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. I think the problem with our country, Nigeria, is too much grammar. The problem we're having could be solved easily without too much grammar. I lived in Libya for many years. When Gaddafi was there, that was why it became the #1 enemy of the West. We tend to want to believe that we must copy the Western people the way they rule Nigeria. It's very easy. The most corrupt people in Nigeria are the civil servants. We are shouting the government. The civil servants are the most corrupt people. If the civil servant can be taken care of, the problem of Nigeria will be solved today. Let all the civil servants that have children put their children in public schools. Secondly, when you are bringing in dollars, like Gaddafi did in Libya, the care of dollars
as port of entry. There should be no two parallel markets. Because when he made that system, the Nigerian dinar became $1 dinar to $3. And when you are going out, the way you spend your dollars must be reviewed. You must tell them this is how I spent the dollars I declared, and this is the remaining dollar. Then secondly, the issue of the dollars we are even shouting at, we are talking about, how come we will allow people to be spending dollars in a country, in a sovereign country where we have our own currency?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mohammed.
Yeah, so I want to, in finding solution, we talked about the prepaid meter issue, where instead of supporting the local industries to produce, we said that they were not able to meet up. And I'm asking, now that they've not met up, the Nigerians, have they died? People are still largely underestimated billing. When I started my life, for how many years? It was just very recent we started hearing of prepaid meters. We all grew up underestimated billing. So if we cannot wait for our own companies to produce what we need, what's the hurry in going to import because we want to meet the needs of the people?
Let me answer your question. See, in industrialization, for industrialization to be successful, 4 things come into play. 4 factors. I call them the critical success factors of industrialization. 1, there's an innovation. 2, government policies. Government must come in with policies to support, right? Now, if you look at the first industrial revolution, steam engine, right? Immediately, what did government do? It gave licenses to start mining coal. Then, because they knew that industrialization was going to explode the economy, they brought in policies to bring in migrants from Eastern Europe into Britain, right? Now, the next one is availability of resource demand. Availability of resource demand, you have 3 factors. 1, financial resources, human capital resources, and then raw materials and mineral resources. And then the last one is industrial infrastructure. What government needs to do? Why do you think this jackpot thing is going on? It's because industrialization is the key success factor of any country. G7 will convene. They don't invite non-entities. When G20 convenes, they don't invite non-entities. Do you understand? Or G8. Now, the reason why they are taking you and I is to fill in that gap. Every year they say, oh, they need 15 engineers, or they need 150 engineers, they need X number of doctors. Do you understand? What government needs to do is that availability of resource demand. Let us also advertise. We need people that can manufacture meters, meter manufacturer engineers. We will bring them into our economy. The way they are stealing us, let us also steal them. Do you understand? We will bring them into our economy, partner with...
As foreigners.
Yes, foreign, but that's what the Western world and Europe is doing, for Christ's sake, if you don't understand. They are taking you and I because they have all these gaps. It's called availability of resource demand. Financial resources, human capital resources, mineral resources, and raw materials.
So they train the people here.
Yes.
They work with the people here.
See,
so that we are not importing what we need. So, we are manufacturing it here. In that way, we provide more jobs for a lot of people. So the thing I see also is because of personal interest, the people who would have the contracts to import some of these things will be cutting corners. And they want the business to be with them. It's like when we kept talking about generators. And people said, as long as we're still selling and buying generators here, our power supply will never work. Because there are people who are profiteering seriously. They've invested billions into importing generators to our country.
But BC, do we really honestly think that I'll bring in a Chinese man to come and train my people for 10 years. After training, he goes back to his country and nothing. He's not going to sign a deal to make sure that even after that, he continues to earn something.
No.
I'm just saying.
It's not to train. See, when you and I, Japa, we are not going there to train.
No. You're inviting them to come and live with us.
They will pay their taxes. They will now become Nigerians.
Okay.
You give them a pathway to citizenship.
Exactly.
That's what they are doing. See, the mistake, I'll say this again, the mistake Africa made and is still making, and Nigeria is making, is thinking that we can do it all by ourselves. Wow. Even the white man knows that he can't do it all by himself. That's why he's stealing you and I.
Doing it.
Let me take this call from Yemi. Like so you're getting to a different angle, which I think I like, because if Nima was here now, she would be saying that, no. We must train it. We can do it ourselves.
We cannot.
And we have lecturer in Kiniko that can come and produce. Let me take 1 second, sir. Let me take this call. Yemi from Lekki, you're live.
Good morning, Mario.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Mario, can I tell you something?
Please.
You see, average Nigeria, right, is illiterate when it comes to economy and finance.
Okay.
Yes. Why do I say that? I am an engineer. Sometimes ago, I was supposed to execute a foundation, a piling, project for a particular. I'm not going to mention it project. And he came to my side. He saw what we were doing. And I told him that, and there's another Italian company in Nigeria. I'm not going to mention their name here. And I told him that if you give us this contract, that the money will go back to the economy, that all my workers are actually Nigerian. You know what he told me, Ryan? He said he does not really care where the money goes to. All he just wants is just get the job done. And yet we want a country, to move on. How is that possible? God bless the gentleman there. He has elaborated everything. Dr. God bless you. Honestly, we see the attitude. Ordinarily, we don't love ourselves. We just also love our country.
Yeah.
Last year, I was in Amsterdam and I came back. And I said, why did I waste this money? I said, that should be to Nigeria could have taken my money to. So, Mario, we want a better society. We need to change our attitude. We need to change our
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Yemi. We have to change our attitude. So what I was saying earlier before Yemi's call came in is the fact that the angle you took it to, which I find interesting. Now, what you're saying is that we need those foreign. So our children have jackpot. No problem. Stay in that country. But we can bring in the Canadians. We can bring in the Americans. We can bring in the Chinese. We can bring in the Indians and give them citizenship. And they have the knowledge to help us to build the economy.
Okay. We need prepaid meter engineers. We need about 500,000 or 300,000 or 100,000. You understand? Yeah. That's what the Canadian government does every year. That's what the U.S. government. Even the U.S. as tech as they are. Yeah. As with all the knowledge they have, you understand? They look at the gap within the industries, and then they fill it with immigrants. Second industrial revolution, when the production line and the combustion engine, Americans brought in 25 million immigrants over a space of, was it 10 or 12 years, to fill in gaps. You understand? So we need, if you need to, because you need to do, as I keep saying, you need to crunch the numbers, which will cost you more. Is it to import or bring in 50,000 people that will produce here? You understand? And when you are producing here, you are creating jobs, the people are paying taxes, and you're also able to export. You know, industrialization is very key.
When that comes to
the normal thing, because on the one hand, earlier we're complaining about bringing in Togolese tilers and people in construction from neighboring countries.
It's different. It's different. I'd say something. You can't come and work here and then carry the money away without paying taxes. It's different. If I am going to...
Or even live here.
I need people who will live within the country and contribute to the economy, both as in skilled labor and in taxes.
And they're not expats. So they're not expatriates, but they're just...
They are immigrants.
No, they are immigrants.
Yes, they are immigrants.
Yes. So we're not worried about those that are jackpotting. We're importing doctors. We're investing in our health sector. So let us import doctors.
It's very different.
Let me take us off a bit. There was a time on this program, I tried to call in, but I couldn't make it. The doctor that slummed after working the whole weekend, right?
I remember.
Now, once you look at the numbers, everything will become clear to you. Somebody worked for the whole weekend, right? In the US, it's 2.4 doctors to 1,000 patients, and they are still screaming that they have been overworked. In Nigeria, it's 1,000 doctors, one doctor to 10,000 patients. So once you look at the number, everybody, they are being overworked. As they are taking our people, bring in people.
So what I'm hearing you say, let me be sure.
We have the money to bring in.
You don't have money. All the people that are jackpotting here, they're not the ones selling their houses and going.
So there's money in the economy. So what you're saying is that the ones that are even going, right? For example, let me be clear. So Nigerians, you're a graduate, you're a mid-level doctor, you're just in this system. You jackpot, it's fine because people need you to go and get more educated and more experience. But those who already have the experience, we should bring them, foreigners or not, as immigrants.
We can't pay them.
No, we don't want to pay them because they don't have the international experience. I'm just trying to get...
No, even what he said bring them the way Canada is asking Nigeria, skilled workers. So Nigeria is going to ask the skilled workers to come. We cannot pay the ones that are here. Which money are we going to use?
So let me add something to that. So, you know, we want to import this. Let's go to the electricity sector.
No, let's go to...
We need money.
Let's go to health.
Let's start. That's from the example I started from here. So we need money. We have money to import.
Yes.
Instead of building it here. Now we're saying the money you use to import the product, use it to bring in
the skilled hands,
the skilled people. So
see, you're not spending a dime
to bring them in.
When even people are coming, they are the ones spending.
So come.
You must have money before you go to Canada.
You must have money to settle yourself.
I know why I'm going to Canada.
Yes.
When I go there, I know how much.
But when they are employed here, we pay them.
What are we pay them? When they are employed, going there because you trust that you're going to live there.
3 months, they never see work.
No, leave that.
What they will still get.
Generally,
when they get a job, they will be paid.
You will get your papers, you will get all the information, you know how much you are likely to pay. You can compare that what you are going to earn is better than the doctor that is earning here. So that is why you are going. Are you going to go and count bridge in Canada? Are you going to go and count snow mountains? There's a reason you're going there, to earn more money. Yeah. What am I going to tell the Canadian to, what am I giving him?
Canada will come.
No.
It is not government. Listen.
No,
Listen to this. When I go to Canada, or when I got to Canada and I got to the US, it wasn't government that employed me.
No.
I worked in the private sector, right? If government supports the metering industry here and says, look, we can give you tax break for the next 5-10 years. I use the dairy industry in the US, right, as an example. We can give you tax break for the next 5-10 years. Pay these people well. Do you understand? It is the private industries that will do that.
I'll handle it.
Do you get it? And if they say, okay, fine, once you crunch the numbers, it will tell you the...
I'm surprised that Mariam is not getting it. The same way I'm going to Canada, it's my brain that is taking me to Canada. So that brain, right, it's not government that will hire me. I'll go there and apply. Because the reason I'm in Canada is because government has given a policy that allows me to come in. Same thing. Government here to do a policy that will make the Canadians come here.
I get
support
you,
the
but
local
because it's incongruent with what we have said in the beginning, that's why I'm confused. Because here in the beginning, we're talking about how we should invest in ourselves, in our facilities, in our... And then we're now,
time of investing in ourselves now.
Nigerians are already complaining about that little part that we're doing here. We're bringing expatriates. We're paying them more. You gave those examples, and now at the end of the conversation, we're saying that's why I'm confused.
We're not bringing in expatriates.
We're not bringing in expatriates.
We're immigrants. It's different from expatriates. Expatriates come, take their money and go. Immigrants take their money and leave.
Immigrants migrate for a reason.
Yes, that's the
Are
reason.
you saying we don't have money to pay them?
Lebanese people migrated here.
And they are still coming.
And they're still here. Indians are here. And they're building industries. So we need to make it more official. And get more people from India, Lebanese.
They'll come for supermarkets and things like that. Are they coming to our hospitals to work Abducted?
Yes, if you request for them, those ones in Saudi Arabia, in Iran.
Are they coming to teach us teachers?
No, they'll come here.
All right.
That's what them.
So,
you have 2 seconds, sir. Finally.
To recap, right? First of all, we need to change our economic model.
Yes.
But the economic model we're operating is not an investment economy.
Yeah.
You know, we operate what is called the asset depletion economy, right? And good. And that will not get us anywhere. Second, the budget is just too small for the size of population we have.
Right.
And third, we also need to concentrate more of investments in the budget than recurrent and liabilities, which is making us poorer. Everything you see in Nigeria today
Thank you very much,
is a part of our economic model.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you. Spent a whole show with you, and we still don't have enough. That is all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Oh, my God.